Hey everyone, and welcome to AMC Movie Talk for movie fans. I'm Crystal Kennedy, and this is the show that brings you all the day's biggest movie news with insight into what it all means. Joining me, as always, is AMC Movie News senior editor, John Campia.
Hey, how's everybody doing?
And we also have joining us today our guest, John Schnepp, director of the upcoming film ABCs of Death.
What's going on?
Thanks for joining us, John. All right,
Hey,
we ready?
Glad to be here, but in real human voice as opposed to the robot voice.
Yeah, we had some weird technical issue going on earlier, but we'll go into that later.
I think he was getting ready for today's topics.
I think so.
All right, we're going to start with...
Scream, scrum, scream, scrum.
We're going to start with this. Yesterday, a report emerged suggesting that 300 director Zach Snyder would be developing a spin-off Star Wars movie, not Episode 7 for Disney and Lucasfilm. The film was said to take on the classic Akira Kurosawa masterpiece, Seven Samurai, and would take place in the Star Wars universe around the same time frame of the upcoming Star Wars Episode 7. A PR rep for Snyder has since denied the report, saying Snyder is currently too busy on post-production for both his upcoming Superman film, Man of Steel, and the new 300 sequel. John, you're a massive Star Wars fanatic.
Yes.
If this is true, how do you feel about it?
Okay, first things first. As we have said before, a PR person denying a report means nothing. It doesn't mean it's true. It doesn't mean it's not true. But just because Zack Snyder's PR person came out and said, oh, no, we deny this, doesn't mean anything. Once again, remind everybody, I had Bradley Cooper's PR person tell me, like, days before the official announcement came out that, no, he's not going to be facing A-Team. He was facing A-Team. We had Marianne Cotillard coming out and saying, no, I'm not Talia al Ghul in The Dark Knight Rises. And guess what? She was Talia al Ghul in The Dark Knight Rises. I had... Guillermo del Toro's rep saying, oh, no, those rumors about Guillermo del Toro directing The Hobbit are totally false. And guess what? Like a few weeks later, Guillermo del Toro is directing The Hobbit. Of course, 2 years after that, he had to drop out, but it was true. So him denying it doesn't mean that it's true, and it doesn't mean that it's not true. So let's assume for a second, just for a second, that it's true. If it's true, Zack Snyder is a director I really like. I love 300. I don't love Watchmen, the job he did on Watchmen, and I really hated Sucker Punch. But I loved his animated film, The Owls, was it Legend of the Guardians, the Rise of the Owls of Gaul, or whatever it is. Mm-hmm. I thought that animated movie was awesome, actually. I thought it was great. I do like his style of storytelling. I'm not sure he would be the perfect fit for a Star Wars world, but let's skip Snyder for a second. Let's say... Which is, it looks like it is true that Disney is trying to develop not just Star Wars Episodes 7, 8, and 9. They're trying to develop other Star Wars movies that take place in the same universe. The brilliant thing about Star Wars is the universe is so brilliantly constructed. There's so many cultures and the way the politics of it all work and the adventure works. It's incredible. So this idea of taking a Seven Samurai story, which, for those of you who aren't familiar with it, to put it in real basic terms, this village that is being oppressed runs out and hires these 7 masterless samurai to come and defend them. And basically, Magnificent Seven was a remake of that in the Western context. The idea of, like, rogue Jedi being brought together to defend some settlement in the Outer Rim or something, I love it. I love the idea of developing these. Now, we know that the screenwriter for the guy who wrote the screenplay for Return of the Jedi and Empire Strikes Back has been hired on to work on scripts outside of Star Wars Episodes 7, 8, and 9. So this could very well be it. So 2 things. If it's Zack Snyder, I'm okay with it. It was not my first choice, but I'm very interested. But even if it's not Zack Snyder, the idea of taking a Kurosawa thing like Seven Samurai and putting it in the context of the Star Wars universe at the same time that Star Wars Episode 7 is happening, like then it kind of feels like an Avengers sort of thing. Schnepp, what about you? What do you think about all this?
Well, it's when you mentioned Seven Samurai, in space movies, I instantly think of Battle Beyond the Stars.
How bad was that?
On Netflix right now. John Boy with the giant mole. Hey, his planet's in trouble. He's got to go get like a whole bunch of dudes.
Space Cowboy. He's got to go get Hannibal Space Cowboy.
Yes, just call. My name is Space Cowboy.
That was his name.
that is his name. My name is Space Cowboy. I just watched it like 3 nights ago. I was like, oh yeah, Battle Beyond the Stars. That's so funny. Yeah. Snyder on the Star Wars samurai movie. If that's gonna happen, that sounds cool. I mean, I think everyone learned that Sucker Punch, him writing, is maybe like something that he needs to take a little more time with as far as the writing aspect to it. Just
right.
Sucker Punch had some great visuals in it, but and I loved Watchmen. I thought it was a great adaptation. I mean, they got rid of the squid, but there's it could have been done completely different. Like Greengrass was going to do it, or it could have just been a spot on, like almost storyboard note for note thing that Snyder did, which I thought was great. Just as a fan of the comic for 20 years, to finally see the comic book kind of brought to life with most of the lines, even though uncredited, Alan Moore wrote it. They didn't change that much. The lines they added sucked. So you could tell that's when, like, I've read the comic book so many times that I noticed when lines were different. I was like, why didn't they just leave the lines the way they were in the comic? Because they changed it, and I don't think they really actually even understood what Alan Moore was writing. So you could tell that when we changed this one thing. It's like, I know, but you didn't get it. But anyway, that's another conversation. Snyder on Star Wars, why not? I think it's great. Matthew Vaughn is going to be doing Star Wars 7, so I'm really happy about that. ABC has announced that they're going to do that weird Coruscant spy TV series that all takes place in between Star Wars Return of the Jedi and Clone Wars, so that can be really cool.
Yeah, but they've been talking about a Star Wars TV series for this is one of those things where I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, they've been talking about a Star Wars TV series for like literally 10 years.
But the reason it makes sense is Disney owns ABC.
Oh yeah, it absolutely makes more sense now. But it's just like the thing. And Matthew Vaughn, once again, I'll believe it when I see it. I mean, I don't believe the Matthew Vaughn thing personally, but one of the things that really makes me interested about this story, though, is if they could kind of say, look, if they've got separate stories going on all over the place in the Star Wars universe, like Star Wars 7, 8, and 9, which is clearly going to follow one story track, you can then kind of create an Avengers kind of world where, okay, you've got this separate thing going on with these rogue Jedi on some distant planet that's completely unrelated to Star Wars 7, 8, and 9, but it's in the same time frame. Well, that means now you've opened up the door that if you wanted to, you could tie these rogue Jedi in later, maybe into the ends of episode 8 or episode 9 or beyond. You can start creating other bounty hunter stories or other different types of stories that at first seem like completely independent, isolated, encapsulated stories. But if they're in the same universe, you leave the door open for yourself to tie them all together. And if they've got that kind of foresight, which they apparently do because that's what they hired Joss Whedon for. That's what they've been doing with the Marvel films. So clearly Disney has this kind of foresight. If they're doing that, it takes my excitement level to like raging geek boner, like way up here. So yeah, I'd be really, really stoked about it.
Well, we're going to stay with Star Wars because director and current king of all geek culture, Joss Whedon, who just directed the Avengers and created TV shows such as Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Angel, and Firefly, claimed in an interview with CNN that he would actually want to direct Star Wars Episode 7, but he's just too committed and busy with Avengers 2, which is scheduled to come out the same year as Episode 7 in 2015. Schnepp, as a fan, would you rather see Whedon direct Star Wars or Avengers 2? And if you had to choose between directing one of those projects, which one would you choose?
I think Whedon is perfect for Avengers 2, and I would hate to see him leave Avengers.
But what would you now if the choice was yours? Disney comes to you and says, "Hey, we've got these two projects, Schnepp. We got Avengers 2, we got Star Wars Episode 7. Which one do you do?"
I'm on Star Wars, yo. Bam! Explosion. No, Whedon's already got Avengers, man. That stuff's handled, son. I need Avengers, man. I'll do that forever. I don't want to work on that. I love seeing other people make up superhero movies. It's great. I'm all over Millennium Falcon. It's happening. Well, yeah. That'll happen maybe when I'm in my 60s or something. They'll be like, Schnepp, here's like some sprinkling Star Wars. We've already done all the Star Wars stuff. Here's an R2-D2 special. Do you want to do that or something? I'd still do it, but yeah, I'm happy with Whedon doing the Shield's television show. That's going to be awesome because he's handling it. So Joss Whedon, I'm glad he turned down Star Wars. I know how painful that must have been, but at the same time, he's in the Marvel cookie jar. He can do anything he wants now. So, and I'm happy to watch anything he does.
See, I'm with Schnepp on this. I think I would, as a fan, do I want Whedon doing Star Wars or do I want him doing Avengers 2? I want him doing Avengers 2 because he started something amazing there. I want to see where he goes with it. He's given us the greatest comic book movie of all time. So I really want to see where he goes from there. If somebody came to me and said, hey, John, do you want to direct Avengers 2 or Star Wars? It ain't going to be Star Wars. No way. No way in hell am I going to direct Star Wars. And here's why. This is the same reason that I'm not going to direct Star Wars is the same reason they're having trouble right now landing and getting an A-list director to commit to Star Wars. Why? Because us Star Wars fans have abused and treated George Lucas like the scum of the earth for 10 years now. We haven't just said, hey, he made a crappy movie, because he did. He made some crappy movies. But we as fans have instantly forgot that he, how many times have we heard this phrase? Dennis, I know you've heard this too. How many times have we heard this phrase thrown around? George Lucas raped my childhood. When do you hear film fans use terms like that?
I know, right?
Like they've thrown out the window the fact, hey, guess what? George Lucas gave me my childhood. My whole imagination, creativity, whatever, was developed because of George Lucas and what he's given us. And look, call a spade a spade. The prequels were not good. Just be honest, they were bad. But
Come on, you didn't like Jar Jar? What's wrong with you?
But the amount of visceral hatred that we have targeted at George Lucas for 10 years now or more. He's raped our childhood. He's the scum of the earth. He's the most awful thing. Yeah, well, guess what? You and I, as Star Wars fans, we have just scared off every potential great director. I guarantee you, there are probably 5 other A-list directors who would have jumped on the chance to do this if it wasn't for the fact that they stand back now and see what we've done to George Lucas. Say, you think I want to be? You think a guy like Ben Affleck is going to stand up and say, yeah, give me a shot at this? No way he's going to do it. No way. No way Spielberg is going to step in the line of fire. No way a Peter Jackson or anybody else that we wanted, no way a Brad Bird or anybody who we wanted to see do this is going to step up and say, no, because I don't want my life destroyed. I don't want my career destroyed. And that's all thanks to us, Star Wars fans. We have vilified George Lucas instead of just saying, hey, he crapped these movies out. These were bad movies. We've gone way too far. We've made documentaries about what a jerk George Lucas is. I know, right? The people versus George Lucas. And we've gone so far to destroy him that we have ensured that nobody really reputable, I think, is going to step up and do Star Wars without taking a serious pause to think about, the fans are going to destroy me if I do this. Why would I want to do it?
I think you're right, but I think after, I think they're going to announce Matthew Vaughn as the director for Episode 7. After he's going to take the brunt of those hits, then everyone else is going to be like, all right, because there is that fear of getting attacked like George Lucas has been attacked. Though, I mean, look, man, like I said, when I was 13, I walked to see The Empire Strikes Back like 16 times. I walked like 3.5 miles every weekend in the summer to go see that movie, and it was like, Phantom Menace, there's not much you can say about it other than that's kind of boring and wooden, and everything bad that happens that you didn't want to have happen happens in that movie. As far as being a Star Wars fan, it's really hard to watch. But look, people make mistakes. He's not saying, I'm sure like he's kind of mellowed in trying to explain that or come up with excuses about the Phantom Menace. It's a pretty bad script, Nothing else about it. Like all the effects are amazing,
It's unfortunate, but it's now what we're left with.
And the loyalty of Star Wars fans is a blessing and a curse for some.
Yes,
so
it's a double-edged sword.
It'll be a little tough. All right, Disney has just confirmed their official release date for the Pirates of the Caribbean 5, which will once again see Johnny Depp return as the swaggering Captain Jack Sparrow. John, this franchise has made a lot of money for Disney. Are you glad they're doing another Pirates film?
No.
Such a sad face.
No. Look, the first Pirates of the Caribbean movie, I remember everybody, all of us, don't pretend like it was just me, all of us, it's like, wait a minute, they're doing a movie on a ride, based on a ride from, and not even that great of a ride from Disneyland? Right. What? And you know what? It turned out to be one of the biggest, most pleasant surprises of a film I've ever seen. I love the first Pirates of the Caribbean. It's so creative, and the Captain Jack Sparrow character. And you know, no one ever talks about Barbossa. I don't think Captain Jack is nearly as Captain Jack if we didn't have on screen juxtaposed against him Captain Barbossa. I mean, the two of them together on screen are awesome. I love that movie. And then came part 2. And it was bad. Then came part 3, which was horrible. And then came part 4, which is like, oh, this time they're going to get it right. They're going to bring us back to the joy of the first one. But no. This series, this franchise has gone from great to terrible. But worldwide, part 4 made over $1 billion for Disney. So from a business point of view, we can't fault them for it. Of course you make another one. But the bigger issue to me is, remember when Johnny Depp used to make good movies? And it's like he just keeps going back to this Captain. Look, I'm glad he went back to give us more Captain Jack before. But enough's enough. Now for some reason, he's Euro white trash Tonto in the upcoming Lone Ranger movie, which I just don't understand. So, look. I'm a bit of a hypocrite because Pirates of the Caribbean 5 is going to come out, and I'm going to be there opening day to see it because it's fantasy, adventure, sci-fi. So I'm going to be there. But I really wish they weren't doing it. I wish they were doing something else, and I wish Johnny Depp would find something really good to do. But that's just me. Schnepp, am I out to lunch? Like, am I crazy? What are you thinking?
No, I mean, look, I mean, I saw the first Pirates movie too. It was like, I felt the same way. It's like, oh, they're making a movie about a ride, but Johnny Depp's in it. I'm going to check it out. It was fun. I was into it. And then something happened in between then and now. The Pirates movies, like Pirates 4, sure, it made a lot of money, but it's a kids franchise. It's like families are taking their like little kids who are dressed up as pirates to go see that movie. That's why it's a family film, just like how big animated 3D films make a lot of money, even if they're not that like me or you or adults aren't really that into it. It's because it's a family movie, so they're like getting all the families to come on the weekends. That's what Pirates is now. I mean, really, honestly, besides the side cultures of people who like to dress up as pirates and do like, "Arg, matey, let's go arg, I'm a steampunk" and stuff like that. It's like, it's a pirate movie. Give me a break. So I mean, look at the other pirate movies that come out that are giant blockbusters. None. They don't exist. There are no other pirate movies that are ice pirates. I mean, come
I
on.
remember that.
What other pirate movie was a success? What was that Gina Davis one? Remember, like she's like, I'm a female.
Yeah, with Matthew
Treasure Island.
Good or not Matthew Good, but I can't remember.
Yeah, Rennie Harlin's pirate movie. You remember that? No. There's no other pirate movie that exists besides this one. It's a franchise that little kids can like wear their pirate outfits in Halloween, and people can get all steampunk and dress up with weird face paint. It's a really weird one-off that somehow became a big hit, and also it's really it's due to Johnny Depp playing a great character, an iconic character that he's like, oh, I want to see Sparrow again. Oh, the only way you're going to see him is in this Pirates 8 or 9. He'll do it he'll keep doing that forever. And he's probably just in that phase of his life right now where he's like, yo, I'm going to take those giant chunks of money, son. Like 20 million, bam. Like, I'm going to do 4 movies a year for 80 million.
And how can we blame him?
Yeah, I mean, and yeah, he like give him a couple years, then he'll be like, now I'll do some art movies. Or I'll do some independent cool thrillers. He's always going to be available. He's a great actor. So, we could rag on actors all we want, but it's like ultimately they're most of them are out like serving us food, or would you like extra cream in that coffee, sir? Until they get their break, then they have to like load up all the movies all at once. Like, yo, I got to stack those movies so I can pay for my rent. When they become this big, it's like I give them as many breaks as possible. Like, yo, do Lone Ranger, do Rum Diary, have some fun, have kids, have 15 wives, make some shit. Like, it's like, you know what I'm saying? It's like. But Pirates 8, I didn't see Pirates, what was it, 4? I didn't go see it. Pirates 3 was like I could not even understand what was going on. It's like, now they're underground. Chow Yun Fat is attacking them. Now other things, arrows, knives, swords, pirates, boring. I was like bored out of my mind.
Yeah.
So.
All right, let's move on.
One of the absolute most popular video game franchises out there, Assassin's Creed, has just taken another step to the big screen. We already learned a while ago that X-Men first-class actor Michael Fassbender, who played Magneto, will be starring in and producing the film. And now it's been announced that a writer has been hired to pen the script as unknown British writer Michael Leslie has been hired. So, Schnepp, are you excited for an Assassin's Creed movie?
Yeah, I think I'm about as excited for an Assassin's Creed movie as any video game movie. I mean, you know, that means I'm like somewhere in the middle. Like it all has to come together. Like they have to get a good director. I have to see a trailer first. I mean, there's all the just normal, typical things. Like Fassbender's a great actor. We'll see what happens. I mean, you know, them making a giant budget video game movie, it's already happened so many times in the past and failed that my excitement level is like, you know, a game like Splinter Cell, which I played every single version of, and having a great actor like Tom Hardy, I'm like, all right, those are the 2 steps. Number 1, get a really cool video game that hasn't been adapted yet. Number 2, get a good actor. Then it's number 3, get a good writer. That's what they're doing. Number 4, get a good director. Number 5, make the film properly. Don't chimp on the budget. Make sure the story is really good, that it's an engaging movie, not just like a straight up adaptation like, yes, we did level 7 from the video game version 3. You're like, what? So there's so many factors that go into it. So yeah, I'll be watching Assassin's Creed as they move forward, start releasing film clips, like pictures online, all that stuff. We're all going to be watching it. And then when we ultimately see the trailer, we're going to make like that first judgment call, like trailer was fun, I'm into it, or trailer was kind of weird. What's up, you know? So that's my opinion.
I think the challenge, here's why I'm actually looking forward to an Assassin's Creed. Look, there are a couple rules in life: death, taxes, all video game movies suck. Those are kind of rules. And I think one of the reasons that they've all sucked is because everybody wants to argue with me. They all want to complain and say, I don't know what I'm talking about. I'm sorry, truth's the truth, all right? Video games, thankfully, are not made for narrative storytelling. They're made for gameplay. And that's the way it should be. Mm-hmm. They're made for gameplay, to make sure to heighten and bring the gameplay experience as high as it can. And as a result of that, when you really sit down, if you really boil down how much pure storytelling narrative is actually in this game, it's about 15, 20 minutes. But people want to argue that, no, there are hours and hours of storytelling in this game. No, there's not. There's not. It's really, when you break down, it's about 15, 20 minutes. Now, there are some exceptions. I've always said, I think a World of Warcraft movie could be a hit because you have such an established, expansive, lots of narrative universe there that maybe something could happen there. I think BioShock, because of that world that they created there, I think there's really potential there. And I think Assassin's Creed. I do think Assassin's Creed holds a potential, because whether you're actually talking about the different time periods they're in, or you're talking about the genetic memory angle, whichever way you want to go at it, I do think there's potential there. You got a guy like Magneto in there, Michael Fassbender, who was awesome in Shame, and he was the best part of Prometheus, and you know, anything he's in, he's generally the best part of it. I think there's a lot of potential there. I don't know who the writer is, Michael Leslie. I've never seen anything that he's done, so the jury's going to be out on that. But I do think, as far as in a world where all video game movies suck, I think, along with Splinter Cell, I think Assassin's Creed has some potential. But listen, folks, we've more than run out of time. Thank you so much for joining us. But while I've got you, take a second and click that subscribe button. Become one of our YouTube subscribers here on AMC Movie News. It'll keep you up to date on everything going on in the world of movie news, our editorials, and of course, our daily AMC Movie Talk show. And listen, if you want an audio-only version so you can listen to us at work or on your commute, hop on over to iTunes and just search for AMC Movie Talk in the podcast. You'll find a video and audio-only version there. And while you're at it, make sure to follow us on Twitter at twitter.com/AMC Theaters. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/AMC Theaters. As always, I want to thank Crystal Lee for joining us. Thank you, Crystal Lee.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much to Mr. John Schnepp.
Oh, so I'll see you later.
And most of all, thank you to you guys. And listen, the most important thing now is, after clicking subscribe, jump into the comments section and tell us what you think. The important thing is here, what do you think about all this stuff? About Joss Whedon on Star Wars, Zack Snyder, Seven Samurai, Assassin's Creed movie, whatever. Jump in and give us your opinion. I'm in the chat board all the time there, and I'll answer your stuff. And that'll do it. Thank you so much for joining us. Don't forget to join us again tomorrow. We'll be back again for AMC Movie Talk. And until then, my name's John Campia. Bye-bye.